Good day, girls. Hope you all are doing well by the grace of God. I am teacher Brinil Dabre. Today, we will be covering a topic in English grammar, figures of speech. Teacher Rucha has already covered few of these. So today, I'll continue with the remaining ones. Students of Standard 9th, you have to write the figures of speech that have been covered by Teacher Rucha in your English grammar notebook, as well as you have to continue with these remaining figures of speech. Figures of speech. Understanding these figures of speech is very important for an English learner because these figures of speech form the basic writing and conversational skills. Let us start with a brief discussion of figures of speech and their importance in English language. What is figure of speech? It is a word or a phrase using figurative language. You can see two examples on the screen. First is he ran fast. Second one is he ran like the wind. Now the first sentence, he ran fast, it is in literal language, and the second sentence, he ran like the wind, is in figurative language. Now literal language means exactly what it says, and figurative language is the opposite of literal language, that is something different to what it says on the surface. So using these figures of speech is like sprinkling condiments over your bland food so that it tastes better. Now let's proceed with the figures of speech. Our first figure of speech is climax. Climax means the ideas are arranged in an ascending order or an increasing order of importance for better poetic effect. Our first example, he worked for days, months and years on this project. So here you can see that the ideas or the words are arranged in increasing order of their importance. That is, first comes the days, then the months and then the years. So how will you explain this figure of speech? You will write answer, climax. The words days, months and years are arranged in ascending order. Second, he came, he saw, he conquered. So over here also you can see that the ideas are arranged in ascending order. That is, he is coming first, then he is seeing and then he is conquering. So this figure of speech is climax. The words came, saw and conquered are arranged in ascending order. We will study the next figure of speech, which is anticlimax. Anti means opposite. So it is opposite of climax. In anticlimax, the ideas are arranged in the descending order or in the decreasing order of importance for better poetic effect. First example, he lost his family, his car and his cell phone. Now here you can see that the ideas are arranged in descending order. That is, he has lost his family, he has also lost his car and he has lost his cell phone. So you will write the answer or you will write the explanation as answer, then the figure of speech, that is anticlimax. The words family, car and cell phone are arranged in descending order. Our second example, she is a great writer, a mother and a humorist. So here also you will notice that the ideas are arranged in the descending order or in the decreasing order of importance. She is a great writer. She is a mother and she is also a humorist. So you will explain this figure of speech as answer. You will write the figure of speech, that is anticlimax. The words writer, mother and humorist are arranged in descending order. Next figure of speech we will learn is antithesis. Opposite words are placed in a single sentence. So in this figure of speech you will notice that in a sentence there are opposite words. Let's see our first example. Our loss is your gain. So you can see there are two opposite words placed in a sentence. Which are those two opposite words? Loss and gain. So this figure of speech is antithesis, and you will explain two opposite words, loss and gain, are put in a sentence. Let's see a second example. Speech is silver, but silence is golden. Now, which are the opposite words over here? Silver and golden. So, when opposite words are placed in a single sentence, that figures of speech is said to be antithesis. So, you will write the answer as antithesis. Two opposite words, silver and golden, are put in a sentence. Now we will see another form of antithesis, and that figure of speech is called as oxymoron. So it is a special form of antithesis where two contradictory qualities of the same thing are stated at once. That is, you will notice that in this figure of speech also there are two opposite words, but they are placed side by side. Let's see the example. He was found missing. Now which are the opposite words over here? Found and missing. So you will see that there are two opposite words in this sentence also, but they are placed side by side. Whereas in antithesis, those opposite words are placed in a single sentence. It may be anywhere in the sentence, but in oxymoron, the opposite words or the opposite ideas are placed side by side. So we will write the answer as oxymoron. Two opposite words, found and missing, are placed side by side in a sentence. Second example, he was the wisest fool. Now which are the opposite words over here? Wise and fool. Now you will again notice over here that these two opposite words are placed side by side, or they are stated at once. So that figure of speech is called as oxymoron, and you will explain it as, you will write the answer oxymoron. Two opposite words, wise and fool, are placed side by side in a sentence. Just now we studied about antithesis and oxymoron. In antithesis we studied that two opposite words are placed in a sentence, and in oxymoron we studied that two opposite words are placed side by side in a sentence. Now we will study another figure of speech which is somewhat similar to oxymoron, that is paradox. So in this figure of speech, two statements or ideas which are contradictory to each other are expressed. That is, a seemingly contradictory statement or incompatible ideas are expressed. It can be thought-provoking as well as it can be fun. So we'll see our first example. Don't go to the water until you have learned to swim. So in this statement you can see two ideas that are contradictory to each other. First idea is not to go to the water, and second idea is until you have learned to swim. So you cannot swim until you get into the water, isn't it? So here we see that the sentence contradicts its own ideas. So how will you explain this figure of speech? You will write answer, paradox. The sentence contradicts its own ideas. Let's see a second example. You can save money by spending it. Now which are the two ideas which contradict over here? Saving money and spending it. So you can either save money or you can either spend it. So if you are saving the money, you cannot spend it, and if you are spending the money, you cannot save it. So these are the two contradictory ideas which are there in one sentence. So the figure of speech is paradox, and you will explain the sentence contradicts its own ideas. We will now study about another figure of speech, that is transferred epithet. Epithet means a qualifying adjective. So as the name suggests, an adjective is transferred from one person to another object which is closely associated with it. Let's see an example. He slept on a restless bed. Now the adjective over here is restless, and this is transferred epithet because the human quality of being restless is been transferred from the person to the bed. Second example, it was a happy morning for her. Now the adjective over here is happy, and it is a transferred epithet because the human quality of happiness is being transferred from the person to morning. Next figure of speech that we will study about is hyperbole. As in the name, the word hyper, it means excess or extreme. So what is hyperbole? It is the extreme exaggeration of ideas to lay emphasis or to catch readers' attention. It is an overstatement, and the evidence is highly exaggerated by the poet. First sentence. She cried buckets of tears. That means she cried a lot. But instead of stating that she cried a lot, to catch the reader's attention, it is stated as she cried buckets of tears. So while explaining this sentence, you will write answer, hyperbole. It is a highly exaggerated statement. Second example, I have told you million times. Now over here, million times means many times. So again, it is exaggerated to catch the reader's attention. So while explaining, you will explain hyperbole. It is a highly exaggerated statement. Our next figure of speech is euphemism. In this figure of speech, a harsh reality is expressed in a mild way. Let's see an example of this. Don't tell me a fairy tale. Over here, fairy tale means telling a lie. So instead of telling that don't tell me a lie, it is said that don't tell me a fairy tale. That is, a harsh reality is expressed in a mild way. So that figure of speech is called as euphemism. While explaining this line, we will write answer, euphemism. The words fairy tale used here to express a lie in a milder way. Second example, he has gone to rest with his forefathers. Now over here, gone to rest means he has died. Okay, his forefathers are already dead and he has also gone to rest with them. So the expression of death is expressed over here with the words gone to rest. So the harsh reality of death is expressed in a milder way by using the words gone to rest. We will explain this line as answer euphemism. The words gone to rest used here to express death in a milder way. Next figure of speech is synecdoche. In this figure of speech, a part symbolizes the whole and vice versa. That is, the whole symbolizes a part. Now let's see an example for this. Our hearts are at peace. Now in this statement, heart is a part which symbolizes the person. So the explanation goes that it is synecdoche, a part, that is the heart is symbolizing the person. Second example, his orchards were his bread. Now this example is also synecdoche because a part, that is bread, it symbolizes the whole, that is livelihood. Now we shall study the next figure of speech, that is metonymy. It is a figure of speech that replaces the name of one thing with the name of something else with which it is closely associated. That is, the name of one thing is replaced with something else with which it is closely associated. Our example is, the pen is mightier than the sword. Now this is an example of metonymy because the pen over here refers to written words, which is more powerful than fighting, which is denoted by a sword. Second example, you must address the chair. Now this is metonymy because here the chair stands for the person in authority. We will study another figure of speech, that is pun. Pun is a humorous play of words with multiple meanings. That is, a word may have two meanings. Let's see our first example. The life of a person depends on the liver. Now over here, the word liver, it has two meanings. One is the important body organ and second is a person who leads a life. So this is an example of pun. Here liver symbolizes one who lives life as well as an important body organ. So here you will notice that the word is having two meanings. Second example, I completed all my homework. Now over here, the word homework, it also has two meanings. One is the household work and second is the homework that has been given in the school. So it is pun because here homework symbolizes household work as well as the homework given in the school. Next we will study about irony. In this figure of speech, words are used to express the opposite of what is stated. So a positive sentence gives a negative stress. Let's see a first example over here. A good friend you are to give out all my secrets. Now, a good friend will not leak out the secrets of a friend. So this figure of speech is irony. Here what is meant by a good friend is that the person addressed is not a friend. Second example, but Brutus is an honorable man. So here they mean to say that Brutus is not an honorable man. It is an irony. Here what is meant by honorable is that the person addressed is not honorable. Next figure of speech is lightities. It is an understatement in which positive statement is expressed by negating its opposite. That means a negative statement, it gives a positive stress. Let's see our first example. This is a statement of no small importance, and this example is lightities because the expression of no small suggests of great importance. So the use of negative, it suggests strong affirmative, that is, it gives a positive idea. Second example, she is not unhappy. Now again over here, negative is giving us a positive stress. So this example is lightities because the expression not unhappy suggests she is happy. So the use of negative suggests strong affirmative. The last figure of speech that we will be studying is exclamation. It is the strong expression of feeling, and it is used to draw greater attention, and usually this figure of speech, it ends with an exclamation mark. Let's see our example. Oh, what a fall was there, my countrymen. So it is an exclamation because it shows high emotion, and the sentence, it ends with an exclamation mark. Second example, what a wonderful phase of life. So this is also exclamation because it is showing high emotion, and the sentence ends with an exclamation mark. We will now have a quick recap of the figures of speech that we studied. First, climax. In this, ideas are arranged in ascending order. Anticlimax, ideas are arranged in descending order. Antithesis, opposite words are there in a sentence. Oxymoron, two opposite words are placed side by side in a sentence. Paradox, two opposite ideas or statements are there in a sentence. Transferred epithet, objects and ideas, they show human feeling and emotion. Hyperbole, it's a highly exaggerated statement. Euphemism, harsh reality is expressed in a milder way. Synecdoche, part is used for whole and vice versa. Metonymy, here there is a substitution of word or a phrase for another with which it is closely associated. Pun, it has a word which has two meanings. Irony, positive sentence, it gives a negative stress. Lightities, a negative statement gives a positive stress. Exclamation, it shows high emotions, and there's an exclamation mark. With this, we come to an end to the topic figures of speech. Students of Standard 9, you have to complete all those figures of speech in your English grammar notebook that have been covered by Teacher Rucha as well as by me. You have to write the definitions, the examples, and the explanation to those examples. And students of Standard 9th and 10th, you have to complete the assignments that have been given by Teacher Rucha as well as by me in your English grammar notebook. You can write both the assignments together. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.